Welcome back to watching videos of me. It's been, I think we're closing in on almost 2 months at least since I've put out a video, and I'm pretty certain most people thought I had disappeared into the ether and wasn't coming back. Not true. I am back, and hopefully permanently now, and it was just one of those instances where there was just so much going on. There was a lot of family changes. There was a lot going on in my my scrapbooking career, my design career, just changes, and having to deal with stuff that way that just really prevented me from even getting into my scrapbook room to scrapbook. I managed to over that period of time record several videos, but never edit them or voice them over to get them posted. So I wanted to put out one where I was using my own product that I had created for the fall first, before I did any of the other ones that are kind of maybe not fall related or specific to anything. As you guys know, I do like to do everyday photos all the time, and I don't always scrap in season, for sure. I know the holiday season is coming up, so I know I'm going to be working on projects for that to hopefully do another series this year like I did last year, and do it and have it like in on time and everything. So yeah, couple of announcements, I guess. I closed down my Patreon. And this was kind of a personal choice. I felt like with Patreon, I wasn't being as active with my patrons as I could have been. I know many scrappers that successfully run a Patreon account, and their patrons get lots of sneak peeks and advantages and stuff like that, but I really wasn't able to keep up with that kind of demand. And I actually started to kind of feel bad, because my patrons were amazing, and they were supporting me, but even just supporting by watching, and that way the ad revenue happens on YouTube, or supporting my endeavors, whether they be online through purchasing or whatever, was just as important to me as having that. And I just thought this way I could focus on other stuff for you guys, as opposed to having to constantly worry about that. I'm sorry, my throat has suddenly decided to get a frog in it. So I just thought that this would be easier, and then my patrons wouldn't have to worry about waiting for stuff. Everybody would get it at the same time, and they wouldn't have that monetary commitment to me anymore, and it would actually free up some of my time as well. So I kind of feel like this is a win-win situation. So for this project, I am going to be working primarily with the digital collection that I created called Norwegian Wood, and it is a fall-inspired collection, an outdoorsy kind of fall collection. I kept mostly with like animals and nature themes for this one. And I'm gonna clear my throat again. My throat was fine till I started talking. So I had this picture that I printed out of my daughter at the pumpkin patch. I think this was last year, and I just thought it'd be a great opportunity to layer some of the papers, because when I was designing them, I was thinking about like the layering potential of them, and things like, if it was a stripe, would it go well with like a white paper in front of it, and would you be able to see enough of the different colors, like that type of thing. So I started with, I do apologize guys for whatever frog just decided to jump in my throat the minute I started filming this, but I'm already halfway through my voiceover and I don't want to stop at this point. But I was completely fine till I started. This is what happens when you don't do a voiceover for like ever. Your throat's not used to talking this much. The background paper that I started with was actually from the Crate Paper Wonder collection, a couple years old. It's like a baby collection, but it was very vintage, and it's got that yellow and pink that is in my collection. If you hear noise, I have kittens. My cats had babies back at the end of August, and I still, we're keeping some of the kittens, and some have not been adopted out yet. So they really like to come in and see what I'm doing when I'm in my craft room. They've been keeping me busy too. So I decided to just kind of layer lots of the papers that had colors that would kind of match. I was going like dark, light, trying to get some white papers in there, trying to get lots of colors and shapes. And I'm ripping them. And this is like brochure paper that they were printed on. So it rips really well. It's very thin. I had an awful time trying to rip the white paper that I used as my layering over my background, which is just white cardstock. It's Basil, what is it called? Avalanche. That's the white that I have. I've never seen the marshmallow one that everyone uses because I'm always buying mine at Michael's and they only ever have the Avalanche one. So I think it had a lot to do with the moisture that was in the air in my room was causing the paper to be a little bit like damp when it came to ripping. So it didn't rip the easiest, but I was hoping for a lot of texture around the edges. So that's why I didn't just snip it, like didn't just trim it off. So as you can see, I kind of went layering crazy. The photo is like just a bit less than a 4x6 because I wanted a white border. So I kept a little white border in. I had an old piece of paper that was like a border paper when it's like a shape and it's almost a 12x12. So that's what's on that side there that is shaped kind of like a scallop. And I painted using the Distress Oxides. One is Cracked Pistachio. And then there's a pink one, and I don't remember the name of it. And I just kind of painted around in a circle because I knew I had colors like the Cracked Pistachio and I knew I had pink and that those would work well. And plus, those are the only two Distress Oxides I even own. So I used those ones and painted them around and then kind of watered them down a little bit. Put some paper towel over them so that they kind of dried up and became a little less saturated. And then I sprinkled over top mustard Heidi Swapp Color Shine. And I chose that because it's kind of got an orangey yellow. Like I have a yellow, but this one was a bit, it's definitely more on the orange side. So I thought it went really well with the yellows that are in the collection. And of course I've printed out all of the embellishments and then I was like, well, what do I do? Because I could use all of them right now, but that would be really crowded. And I decided to create, instead of using one of the flower clusters that's like a pre-done one, I used some of the like cluster elements that you can get, like the large flower pieces, and created my own embellishment cluster. And of course used one of the pumpkins because we're at the pumpkin patch. I just thought it was a good idea. I really wanted to use those butterflies. I do use one of them, and then off screen, after I was completely done with this layout, I moved it to the side and smeared a bunch of, one of the cats is trying to get up on my table. And his name is Tank, and he is a big sweetheart. He's a long-haired. We ended up with some long-haired ones, and they're gorgeous. And we are keeping him. And he is a big, big sook. And he can't meow yet, so he's trying to get up and talk to me and meow, and he can't. So I, as I was saying, I wanted to use the butterflies, and then I didn't. But then I smeared black ink at the very end on the left bottom corner of this layout. And so I did end up using all the butterflies because I had to cover up my accident. And it was funny because I did it and then I was talking to my husband who gets me, I guess, because he's like, can't you just embellish over it? I'm like, yes. That doesn't make me any less upset over what I did, but yes, I can embellish over it. So I guess he understands my love of embellishing. So I did include some chipboard that is from other collections because I just wanted to show that, like, when I make a collection, I do keep compatibility in mind. Like, I really like to go with colors that I hope can like textures, or not textures, but designs and patterns and everything like that that could mix in with other product lines. Because of course it is a digital product line, so it's not always going to be able to stand on its own completely. It's going to need some help because you can only print so much. Like, you can only print embellishments and papers. You can't really print flair or chipboard pieces or wood veneers or anything like that, right? So anyway, that big girl was a sticker, was stickers from the Reset Girl line that Simple Stories had put out a little while ago, and I really loved how vintage it was, and I bought it. And I haven't used, I didn't buy all of it, but what I have bought, I haven't used a ton of, and you guys can hear everything going on, and that's kittens walking around on all my stuff. So I spelt girl, and then I was like, okay, so what else do I write, right? Because I've done so many layouts of the fall and things like that I'm like, oh, I've done like Girl of Autumn or Nature's Girl or different things like that. And then I saw that gold sticker. Guys, stop. I saw that gold sticker that said thanks. And of course, we would have gotten our pumpkins probably before the Canadian Thanksgiving, which is in October. So I thought, well, I'll just write thanks, girl, because you know what? Thank you for stopping and letting me take some cute pictures, because, you know, they get really excited when they're going places and they don't always want to have to stop and pause and wait for mom to take a picture and all that junk. But my kids are really kind of thoughtful that way, that if I'm like, come on guys, like, let's just take a picture, like my youngest will just stand there and go cheese and everything. So they're usually pretty good that way. So this was why I ended up smearing it, was because of this black. I put some black dots at the end because I wanted just that contrast. And at the end, I ended up smearing them in the left-hand corner. But wow, that's the layout. That's the whole video. I forgot what it was like to do a voiceover. Pictures are coming up, guys. Thank you so much for all the support, all the love, all the commitment you guys have made to following me. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.